Dear Smash community, who am I? What's my story? And what is Smash for DIPG? To answer it simply, I am NPG. And I have a unique story within the Smash community that I'm going to tell you guys. And Smash for DIPG is a hashtag that I created that resembles a movement of us as the Smash community coming together to fight for a cause much bigger than ourselves. That's the simple answer. But you came to hear my story and the origin of Smash for DIPG and the past, present, and future of myself and this hashtag. So let's begin. When I say Dear Smash community, it's an interesting effect because I have been seen by so many gamers in the Smash community in my time playing Smash. And my local community knows of me personally to some degree. Some of them know me as Nick, but everyone knows me as NPG. And I have been seen by gamers all over the globe, all over the United States, from California to the East Coast, and gamers in Canada and Mexico and across the water in Europe. And I know that so many have not seen me before. And that's why I find this so fascinating, that the Smash community is so broad. And I don't know how to get you guys' attention, but I'm determined to do it over time. I've been wanting to make this piece of content for a long time because it's a story that spans over the last decade, and I wanted to get everything out there to you guys. And there's so much content that I know I need to create to make Smash for DIPG grow and become everything it can possibly be, because I'm a small creator online right now, and I have a unique internet effect where I'm known as NPG or nickpaulygee, which is what NPG stands for, or Nick Garbin. And I have been seen by a lot of people, and not everybody knew that I'd made videos and was creating content online. And I see me really growing a lot in the Smash community and as a creator online. And I look forward to getting this story out to you guys and telling you guys where I'm at toward the end. But to start, my name is the joke of my life story and the origin of nickpaulygee. My birth name is Paul Nicholas Garbin Jr. So on paper, all my insurances, all my bills, all my taxes, all my cards, everywhere you could imagine a first and last name, I am Paul Garbin Jr. or just Paul Garbin. Hi, I'm Paul. I am the real Paul brother of the internet, nickpaulygee. Paul Garbin. In reality, Paul Garbin is my dad, and I love him dearly, but no one knows me as Paul. That's just not my real name, even though it's my first name on paper. My name is Nick. When I introduce myself to somebody, I'm Nick, and I don't give them the whole origin of my name, because I know a lot of people out there can relate to this, going by their middle name instead of their legal first name. But this conundrum with my name is how I became known as nickpaulygee. And nickpaulygee originated my freshman year of high school in 2012 here in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. It was the first day of school, and I was in Mississippi Studies. And the teacher went down the roll call and called for Paul Garbin. And I said, here, I go by Nick Garbin. And the teacher, the coach, took note of that on roll call. And all of my classmates took note of this, that I go by Nick. And anytime there was a substitute teacher growing up, they'd go down the roll call and call Paul Garbin. And before I could stay here, my classmates would start laughing and go, "That's Nick. That's not Paul. That's Nick Garvin." And that's my real name, Nick Garvin. But this conundrum with my name is the origin of my life story. And I was in Mississippi Studies a few weeks later, and Call of Duty Black Ops 2 was about to come out. And I was telling my classmates that I was about to start a YouTube channel, and I did not know what I wanted my username to be. And in that moment, my classmate looks over at me and he coins it and says, "What about nickpaulygee?" Right when he said it, I loved it. That's who I am, nickpaulygee. It sounded something like a Jersey Shore name, which is ironic because my mom is from New Jersey and I have family in New Jersey. But nickpaulygee originated right here in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. And I went home and I changed my gamer tag on Xbox Live to nickpaulygee. And I created my YouTube channel, and everywhere you can imagine a username or a gamer tag, I have been nickpaulygee all these years. And it started that year in 2012. And I started making Call of Duty Black Ops 2 montages and commentaries. And in my commentaries, I would introduce myself and say, "What's going on, internet? It's your brother from another mother, nickpaulygee here." And that catchphrase intro was authentic to me. And I loved making those old videos all that time ago. And I made these videos, and I would go to school, and my classmates, my peers, would roast me for my catchphrase intro, and they would make some fun of me. They would say, "Your brother from another mother," and start laughing at me. And they would say, "nickpaulygee," and start laughing in my face. And at first I withstood it, and I was like, "Yeah, nickpaulygee, your brother from another mother, like, ha ha ha, it's kind of corny, yeah, whatever." But over time, this really started to wear me down. And I got to a point where I hated hearing Pauly G followed by laughter. It really took a toll on me. And I loved it whenever people just called me Nick, before nickpaulygee ever existed. And I got to a point to where I deleted all of my old videos. And I regret that. I wish I would have put them on private, because these videos were not amazing by any stretch of the imagination, but they were old videos of me putting myself out there and creating content for the world to enjoy. And I just loved making videos. And I did not make videos for the rest of high school. And I always loved making videos, putting myself out there. I thought it was really cool. And I learned from that whole experience, because for the rest of high school, I did not make videos and I did not post very much on social media. But the next chapter of this journey started my senior year of high school in 2015. I graduated in 2016, but it was 2015, 2016, it was somewhere around there when I went to my very first Super Smash Brothers tournament. It was a South Mississippi Smash tournament, and I found it on Facebook. There was a Facebook page for my local scene. And when I went to my very first tournament, I was a casual 3DS player. And I grew up playing Super Smash Bros. I played Melee when I was 6 years old for the first time at my neighbor's house, and I loved Smash. And then we got a Nintendo Wii when I was 9 years old, and I got Melee. And then when I was 10, we got Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and I played it with one of my best friends from 4th grade. His name was Matt, and me and Matt beat the game together. And Brawl is where I first started playing Lucas. And I loved Lucas because I noticed that me and Matt played the best together when I played Lucas. And I loved this character as a little kid, as a 10-year-old boy. I just loved Lucas. And when Smash 4 came out for 3DS and Wii U, Lucas was not in the game. And when I went to my very first tournament, I did not own a controller. I did not own the game yet. I did not own a Wii U. I was just wanting to play Super Smash Bros. With my local Smash scene. And I signed up for my very first Smash tournament as nickpaulygee. And my story here is something like a Fight Club movie script. And it's really cool. Because when I went to go play Super Smash Bros., nickpaulygee could not fit in the blanks with the 2 E's on the end. And that was part of my signature. I like seeing nickpaulygee with the E's on the end. So in that moment, I condensed my gamer tag to the 3 initials, the abbreviated NPG. And thus, a new identity for me was born. I became known as NPG in the Smash community instead of nickpaulygee. And from there, I loved Smash so much. I just loved going to my local scene and playing every week. And I eventually got a Wii U, and Lucas came out, and I started playing Lucas. And I fell in love with the game and the community. It was really fun. And we would meet every week, and I would bring my setup, and I became a part of the community. And I eventually became a power ranked player on our power ranking list. I was the number 9 ranked player on our list as the PK Fire enthusiast, the Lucas player, NPG. And I would travel to tournaments all over the Gulf Coast from Louisiana to Florida. And I became known as the Mississippi Lucas player. And it was really cool. And I have a lot of fond memories playing Smash 4 all those years ago. And then, in 2017, something happened that changed my life forever. I met Sophia Myers in October of 2017, 2 weeks before she passed away. And Sophia Myers was the 3rd child from my hometown of Ocean Springs, Mississippi, to be diagnosed with DIPG, diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma, a very aggressive, very rare childhood brain cancer. And I met all 3 of the Ocean Springs DIPG children's families in my time of working at my family's business, Quakes Ice Creamery. Quakes. I am the Quakes man. That's another identity for me. I am known for my family owning Quakes. And I met Sophia Mulder in 2010 when I was in 6th grade. And then there was Jackson Schoenberger in 2014 when I was a sophomore in high school. And I never personally met Jackson, but I've met his family members. And then there was Sophia Myers in 2017 after I graduated high school. And these 3 children were diagnosed and killed by DIPG within an 8-year span. And there's so many questions about DIPG. Like, is it biological? Is it hereditary? Or is it environmental? Like, how does this brain cancer start? And it is the most scary disease that you can imagine. It has less than a 1% survival rate. And when I looked Sophia Myers in the eyes, I saw a child that was optimistic to live. You could feel her will to want to beat this cancer and live. And she was surrounded by her loved ones. And it was a moment where I told myself that I was going to do what I could to fight cancer in my lifetime and hopefully find a cure for DIPG. I wanted to contribute toward that. And specifically, I wanted to get DIPG discussed on a global level, unlike ever before in history. I wanted to bring global awareness to this disease because it's the scariest cancer that humanity knows of. It's horrifying. And I did not know how I wanted to do this. I did not know how to bring global awareness to DIPG, but I was a man on a mission. And Sophia is who opened my eyes and showed me how precious life really is. And I've been in 2 car accidents that could have been fatal, where I got T-boned twice, 10 days apart from each other at the end of 2016. So I knew how precious life really is. And I knew that not everybody gets to live a life where they get to grow old one day. And I did not know how to bring global awareness to DIPG. But then it occurred to me that I do have something that could do this. Smash. Because Smash is a beautiful game. It is a party game that is enjoyed by families all over the world, and it has a global audience, and it has a competitive scene to it where it's also a competitive fighting game, and it is such an amazing game that could represent this cause. So in that moment in 2017, I created the hashtag Smash for DIPG, and I put this hashtag on my Brother from Another Mother shirt way long ago. And I would go to my local Smash tournament, and I would get gamers asking me, what is Smash for DIPG? And it dawned on me that DIPG is such an unknown disease, which is the purpose for this hashtag. So I started hosting Smash for DIPG events in 2017, 2018. And they were Smash 4 tournaments. And it was right next door to Quakes in this venue that this guy let us use. And we named it the Game Changer. And I wanted it to become an outlet of gaming and shooting pool and playing ping pong and something for kids to come out of the house and play games like Super Smash Bros. And other games. But I had a really good idea in mind, but it was not strong enough to sustain a business model, because this venue was not open for long. But I do have a vlog from my very first Smash for DIPG event all those years ago. And my local scene and I together raised about $200 at this venue. And it was a start for this movement. But I wanted this movement to go global. And I wanted to get bigger people involved that were outside of Super Smash Bros. That's where my mind was headed. And I had a guy in mind that I believed could make this become something global. And I learned a lot in this process. The guy's name was Logan Paul. I wanted to get Logan involved with helping make Smash for DIPG a reality. Because my idea, and it's still my idea, is to create this epic charity gaming festival, the most epic Super Smash Bros. Event the world's ever seen before, and have it become a North American gaming festival that transcends gaming and becomes something huge for the culture of gaming, for the Super Smash Bros. Community, and for DIPG awareness. We're going to host this gaming festival to commemorate families around the world who've been affected by DIPG and show them that we're fighting right there alongside with them. And it's going to become something awesome. And my idea was to get Logan involved. But my local Smash community did not like this idea. They didn't like the idea of Logan Paul representing Smash or this cause. And at the time, I would say, guys, Logan is a cool guy. He can be a little obnoxious at times, but Logan Paul's a cool dude, and he plays Pokemon, and, like, he would love this. He'd be great for this. But over time, I learned myself that Logan Paul was not meant to represent this. And more specifically, no one person is going to represent this cause. It's not even about one game or a community. It's going to become a broad hashtag. It's going to be a movement that starts with Super Smash Bros. In the Smash community and reaches out to who knows whoever else. But it's going to become something awesome, and not one person is meant to headline this. Because if you look at my old content that's now on private, I made it look like I wanted Logan Paul to headline Smash for DIPG and become the main event of this hashtag. And that was not the case. But that's what it looked like to the internet. And, well, I learned a lot from it. And I was so embarrassed for believing and having faith that this would work out with Logan Paul that I took all of these old videos and I put them on private, because honestly, they were pretty cringe. They were not good content, and it's because I got distracted from documenting my Smash community and making authentic Smash content, and I was just trying to get Logan Paul involved. And I learned a lot from it. And I did not make videos for a long time. And, well, then at the end of 2018, Smash Ultimate came out. Smash Ultimate is where my identity evolved, as I went from being known as the Mississippi Lucas player to the Wi-Fi Lucas player, as I would enter tournaments as often as I could. I would travel all over the Gulf Coast, I would enter Wi-Fi tournaments online, and I would play on this website called smashladder.com, where I peaked in the top 25 players on the whole website. I would play on this website so much, and I was the #1 ranked Lucas player on this entire website for a long period of time back in 2019. Because of all of this Smash Ultimate that I was playing, I became a notable player that was a seeded player when I entered tournaments in California. I went out to California in 2019, and there were players that recognized me for my tag from playing on smashladder.com. And it was really cool having players approach me and say, "Yo, you're NPG, the Wi-Fi Lucas player." That was really cool. And I played so much Smash. It was my main game, and I just loved the game so much. And it's interesting because everybody in the Smash community who had seen me knew me as NPG, but they never knew what it stood for, and they never knew me as nickpaulygee, which is a recurring theme in my internet effect. And, well, in my time, I have played with a number of pro players and content creators, such as Mars, Hungrybox, Esam, Fatality, Spargo, Samsora, and more, many more. I have played with a lot of big name creators and players in the scene. And I have this interesting story as a Smash player. And I never cared to be a high-seeded player in a tournament. I never cared to be the best player in the room. I never cared to be the best Lucas player. Because one of my best friends would ask me, "Nick, do you think you're the best Lucas player in the world?" And I would say, "No, I don't." And even if I was, you can always get outplayed. That's the beauty of competition, in my mind. And I never cared to be the best player in the world. I just love playing Lucas, and I love the game. And, well, I brought back the Smash for DIPG tournament in 2019, and we hosted them at the Edgewater Mall in Biloxi. And my local scene and I raised $300 that we donated to the Cure Starts Now, which was really cool as the beginning of the charity movement. And what I learned from those experiences is I wish I was creating content back then. I wish I was making videos, making vlogs, and taking pictures of all those experiences, because that is part of what you look back on. And, well, then COVID hit in 2020, and the Smash for DIPG tournaments stopped. And I got burned out on playing competitive Super Smash Bros. So the hashtag Smash for DIPG went dormant for a long time, up until here recently, because it was about 2022 when it dawned on me that Smash for DIPG isn't going to create itself. I have to be the one to initiate this. And it's going to become something much bigger than myself or Smash or gaming. But I have to be the one to put in the work to make this a reality. And in 2022, I started making videos again. And I have a lot of them on private, because these videos, some of them were pretty cringe. And I had an idea where I wanted to get a professional gaming organization involved with making Smash for DIPG everything it could possibly become. And my idea was to get my favorite competitive Valorant organization, my favorite Valorant pro team involved with helping making this a reality, which is 100 Thieves. I wanted to get 100 Thieves involved with helping making this real, because 100 Thieves is a professional organization and a brand that resembles the culture of gaming, and I felt like they would be perfect for this. And I'm still on that mission to this day. But what occurred to me is I cannot hope that 100 Thieves discovers me and that together we create Smash for DIPG. Because that's what I imagined. I thought I was going to become a full-time live streamer, which is still part of my dream. But I was going to become a full-time live streamer with 100 Thieves. And then together, we would get the ball rolling on making Smash for DIPG real. But it occurred to me that I have it in the wrong order. I need to make content and get the ball rolling on making Smash for DIPG real, and get the Smash community involved, and get the right people involved with making this something awesome, and then the right professional gaming organization will become a part of it. And I want this to become something that goes beyond gaming organizations and have so many gaming organizations a part of this, because it's going to be something so cool. But I want to join 100 Thieves and become a full-time live streamer, and I want to be donating part of my revenue from streaming to The Cure Starts Now with everything I do. And I want to go out to Smash events all over the United States and vlog and make really cool content for the Smash community. And I want to become a creator for Smash and for other games too, but mainly Smash and Valorant. And now, if you look at my YouTube channel, I am now in present day, which starts roughly a year ago, back in 2025. That's where I started live streaming every day, and I started making content for my streams practically every day, where I'd post on TikTok and YouTube Shorts and on Facebook and on Instagram and on X and all these platforms. I'm posting and I'm putting in work towards making a whole slew of a catalog of content. Because when I first had the idea of joining 100 Thieves back in 2022, I did not have much content online to become a content creator for a professional gaming organization. But now I'm starting to establish that. And now I need to build the hashtag Smash for DIPG organically and make it grow online. And that's what I'm working on now. And well, I stream every day at twitch.tv/nickpaulygee. I would love it if you'd go give me a follow. And I mainly stream Valorant and Smash. But now I'm thinking, how do I grow Smash for DIPG? And this is what I'm saving for here in this video and what I'm going to be acting on these next couple days and weeks. I want to bring my local Smash community back, and better than ever in my mind. As I know there's gamers in my area that play Smash, and there's a weekly in Mobile at Gamers and Geeks, and I go there every Thursday and I vlog content while I'm there. And I want to bring a local tournament right here in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, or here on the Gulf Coast somewhere in Mississippi. And what I'm thinking is I want to host tournaments right here in my house. I live on my family's property and I'm blessed with the life that I live. I pay rent to live here and I have my own house. If you look at our property, it's like 2 houses on one property, and I live in my own place. And this house that I live in could realistically hold about 30 to 50 gamers, depending on how we structured the setup, but we could have a ton of setups in here. And I have a streaming setup to create content and live stream and commentate right here from this room. And I could convert one of those other bedrooms to a setup room in my garage where I hold my car. That could be some setups. We could make it a tournament hub right here in the NPG household. And this could be part of the origin of Smash for DIPG. And I want to start making that real, because I used to have Smash tournaments here at my house way back in the day, a long time ago, and we'd have pizza parties, and it was really cool having tournaments here. And I'm going to be bringing those back, I'm thinking. And then I want to host a Wi-Fi tournament. And I don't know how I can do this with my current setup, because I get connection errors frequently, but I want to start hosting a Wi-Fi tournament for one day of the week as well and have those grow. And I want to create a lot of momentum for me being a Smash player in the community that's trying to do something much bigger than myself in the game. And the eventual dream that we're going to come together and create is building this epic charity gaming festival. And I am determined to join 100 Thieves, as I call myself. If you look at some of my old videos from last year, I call myself the ultimate thief in the night. And it is a trifecta. It's an internet trifecta of how I'm nickpaulygee, NPG, and Nick Garvin, and together they create the ultimate thief in the night. And I came up with this title because I am a Smash Ultimate player looking to steal a spot in 100 Thieves to create this epic charity gaming movement. But it goes beyond that. And it's really cool how the ultimate thief in the night also refers to me being in the shadows and working relentlessly for so long. I have been streaming every day, and I have been on this road to 100T, which is a hashtag I created, the road to 100T, which I've been streaming every day for over 230 days straight. I have been streaming and I have been creating content, and I'm a small streamer right now and a small creator online, but I see my story catching traction in the Smash community first, but then me becoming an online personality for gaming and for all sorts of other things. The thing about the road to 100T and my story here is I used to think that 100 Thieves would discover me one day and be eager to work with me and make this movement a reality. But now my mindset has shifted. 100 Thieves is not a destination for me. They are a part of my journey. And I look forward to being a creator that they look forward to working with. And ultimately, Smash for DIPG is going to go beyond gaming organizations. It's going to go beyond Super Smash Bros. And gaming. And I feel like they're going to see that. And I hope that I become a part of their organization. But we're just going to have to see. And well, I'm going to continue the road to 100T because I believe I'm meant to be a part of 100 Thieves. I see myself as the ultimate thief. And I look forward to the future and meeting you guys at Smash tournaments or wherever you may stumble upon me. Because I have big dreams, and I'm thankful that I get to chase them every day. And I'm just a guy from little Ocean Springs, Mississippi, with a passion for gaming and someone who wants to make a difference and do something that goes beyond gaming. And I just love making videos, and I look forward to having the Smash community look forward to something bigger than ourselves. And, well, an interesting effect that I like to look at throughout my whole story is how I could have been nickpaulygee all along in the Smash community. And I love how I became known as NPG because in high school, nickpaulygee felt something like a punchline, a joke. And I don't think my classmates really meant to be malicious toward me, but that's how I felt with nickpaulygee. And when I condensed it to NPG, and I put in so much time and energy into improving as a player, I became a respected player in the community. And it felt like NPG was a new slate for me. A whole new identity. And even though it means nickpaulygee at the end of the day, it felt like they were two different identities in a way. And I love how Smash has given me that identity, and I could not imagine my life story without Super Smash Bros. And without NPG, Smash for DIPG would never exist. And I look forward to making this hashtag something much larger than myself promoting it online right now. It's going to become something huge for us as the Smash community and for gaming as a whole and for DIPG awareness. And well, I love you guys. Smash community, I am the Lucas player, NPG. And I bring the PK fire on your screen every time you see me. If you're playing Smash against me, I'm using PK fire all the time. I'm a PK fire enthusiast. And I PK freeze the moment and take pictures, which freeze the moment. You get it? And I just love being a cool guy, naturally, with PK freeze. And then I bring the PK thunder as a commentator and a content creator. And I also got my rope snake, like Lucas got, which is my lanyard on my keychain. And I personify with my boy Lucas. And I look forward to having Smash for DIPG become a reality by me putting my best self out there and working every day to make it real. Because I've dreamt of this for so long. And I'm going to continue to create, and I'm going to continue to build toward becoming the best version of myself I can always be. And I look forward to growing with the Smash community and looking back on this, because I just wanted to get my whole story out there. And, well, if you guys enjoyed, I would appreciate any support I can get from you guys. A comment helps a lot. I love comments. I respond to them, or I'll save a whole piece of content for some comments. And if you could like the video, that'd be awesome, because this is like a documentary piece. This is quite the lengthy piece of content. Or if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm at like 309 subscribers, and I would love to see that number go up one day. And go follow me on Twitch, where I live stream every day. Follow me on TikTok, where I post clips and stuff. And get at me on Instagram and on X. Everywhere I am nickpaulygee. Okay? Okay? I love you guys, Smash community. And you'll be seeing me around. And I'll be seeing you around. Much love, internet. Peace.